Hi, my name is Marion Kalmer and I'm a farmer from Western Illinois. During the late 90s, I was growing narrow row corn, BT genetics, a little higher populations, and I experienced a residue buildup problem. So I went into my shop and developed a stalk roll that we now call the BT chopper as a solution to my residue buildup problem. So we're going to review the parts that we have here today that would go on an upgrade kit for a John Deere, either a 40 series or a 90 series, and walk you through all of the ideas that we have to make that corn head work like it really ought to for today's genetics and today's environment. So the original equipment worked really well back in the 70s and the 80s and 90s when these corn heads were popular, but the limitations of the existing cast rolls that were on the 40s or the 90s was the overlapping flutes. When they spin at high speeds, they create basically a solid wall of rotating steel. And I think we've all looked at these OEM stock rolls and you notice the first inch wears, but the rest of it looks like brand new. And that's a good indication that's telling us that that theory is correct. So to resolve that problem, we developed what's now called a revolving window that we put into our new BT chopper. Without that, our stalk roll wouldn't be a whole lot different than anybody else's. But basically, the concept is that we're going to have long flutes in combination with shorter flutes. So as the stalk is coming in through the spiral and the threads, that it's going to start at the long flute and just keep getting a little shorter and a little shorter, a little shorter, and then we immediately go right back to the long flute. And we know that that's the flute that's going to give us that 100% traction that's important to be able to implode that stalk, regardless of weather, whether it's green at the beginning of the season, or it's dry, or it gets a little foggy, or late in the season we hit some down corn. That revolving window is doing a great job of making sure that we have that 100% traction. We've also put a bead of hard surfacing on there because as farmers, we know that that's the area that's going to wear out first. So we're trying to be proactive and make this stalk roll last as long as possible. So that's the main upgrades that we have on the stalk roll. There's also a weed knife, kind of goes around the spiral there that would stop any grass from wanting to wrap, especially on that outside round around the field or going through a waterway. So I'll give you a little demonstration here what we're talking about. This set of stalk rolls here is a slow motion demonstration of exactly how well that revolving window works and the synchronization that we have of the handoff from the threaded spiral into the window, and all of that in combination makes for a smooth transition. And so we're going to start here and slowly walk it on back into the row unit with the long flutes. They get a little shorter and a little shorter, and then we grab it with the two long flutes right there, and that's what pulls that stalk on down and gives us that implosion that we're looking for. Now, as we move on back into the stalk roll, we've decided to use 10 razor sharp induction heat treated blades. And these do a remarkable job of being able to size that residue because we feel that's really important agronomically, mechanically, and just overall the productivity that you're going to see in your corn or soybean fields the following year. So these razor sharp blades are intermeshing and overlap each other, which allow that cut but simultaneous shear, which is so important. So we'll demonstrate it here. Keep your eyes focused on this area right here. Now granted, that's a dry stalk, but it's pretty obvious that we can do a nice job here, and we open the stalk up so that the pith is exposed. And that's the part that I really like, because that's going to feed my earthworms, my microbes, my bacteria, and I've got a living environment, a healthy soil, and I want to promote that. And that's what the shearing part of it is so important to us. So whether you're a no-tiller, whether you're a conventional tiller, we think that this stalk roll has a lot to offer for all of us that grow corn here around the world. So let's talk a little bit about the second component that's in our upgrade kit, which is the stripper plates. And some of the limitations that we saw in the original equipment, the gap is a little bit narrow here at the beginning, and then this runs a straight edge stripper plate, and I tested both beveled and straight, and in my opinion, on impact, this ear is going to want a butt shell, because the kernels are going to hit that edge, and all of the energy is displaced on basically just one kernel, or it could put some hairline cracks in it that will eventually break and show up in the grain tank as fines. The other issue would be that on a dry day, as we pull the stalk down through a straight stripper plate, we're going to strip some of the leaves off. They could end up going in the combine, don't have any reason for that. And also it's going to make it a little tougher to husk that ear. So we developed what we now call the combo stripper plate. Has a little wider V up here at the front. So if I'm in down corn, does a little better retrieving, or if I've got twin row corn, or when I'm dumping on the go and I need a little wiggle room out there. This gives me a little more freedom in the row unit. But then once we get back here, that straight edge that we have will allow the gathering chain to sweep, and anything that might possibly congest in this area, it's going to get pushed on back and into the row unit so that we can pull it on down and process it. So we're straight in the front, we got a little wider gap, but then right here, at this point in time, that's where we're going to change, and we're going to go to a beveled surface, because we think that is better for corn harvesting. And first off, just simply looking at the bottom of an ear of corn, it's rounded, and I put a rounded surface against a rounded surface, and I'm going to do a better job of displacing energy as well. So we think there's an advantage for butt shelling. Number two, we think there's an advantage during implosion. As we start to pull this stalk down, the underside of all of the leaves is rounded and arched, and that'll allow the leaf to stand up. And I've got the chance that I might pull a few more leaves down through the row unit, put them on the ground. Don't see any reason to put them in the combine. And the third point about that beveled stripper plate is husking. And there is an ear shank that connects the node to the cob. And if we can get that low enough in the row unit, the stalk roll will actually get a hold of the ear shank. And then when it pulls down, not only will it separate the ear, but it'll take the husk right with it. I like to see a lot of yellow ears coming into the combine. Going to make it as easy as possible to thresh and separate without putting anything out the back end of the combine. So those are the big items that we have in this kit. Stalk rolls to stripper plates. Also along to enhance this kit just a little bit more is a different set of sprockets for the 40 and the 90 series. In my humble opinion, when I ran that and tested that corn head, we felt that the gathering chain speed was too fast. And the speed ratio of the gearbox made it so that on a dry afternoon, the gathering chain would come around and work an awful lot like a silage chopper, and it would just cut the top of the stalk off and shove it on back and into the combine. And many of us have harvested on a dry day, and we've seen that large pile of fluff in front of the auger, and we just can't get it to flow on through. And that's what's causing it, is the gathering chain just breaking the top of the stalk off before the stalk roll has a chance to pull it down and put it on the ground. So from the factory, they use an 8-tooth We're going to use a 6-tooth at the top of this row unit, slow that gathering chain down just a little bit, give the stalk rolls a chance to make the stalk disappear. Now, we're still using the standard OEM chain. Ours happens to have chrome pins in it so that we can extend the life. As I rebuild corn heads, I prefer to just rebuild it as nicely as I can so that I don't have to come back and do it. So we're using a high quality chrome pin chain. And then we're also have switched over to a higher quality idler sprocket. It's solid, it's got a sealed bearing in it, but the unique thing is this has 9 teeth instead of 8. So now the chain envelope, smaller at the top, larger at the bottom, the chain envelope is still the same as what it's always been. So we're still running the standard gathering chain out there. So to review here a little bit, this is our upgrade package for a 40 or a 90 series. John Deere corn head, been extremely popular throughout the country. And the main components are the upgraded BT chopper stalk roll. We have new combo beveled stripper plates. We have sprockets top and bottom, and we have a new gathering chain that's in this kit as well. So, mechanically speaking, we've got a lot of advantages here, we think, with this upgrade kit. Better corn stalk engagement, obviously better ear separation. If you used to chop corn stalks, I did that when I was a kid, we just don't see that you're ever going to need to pull the stalk chopper out of the machine shed anymore. If you were using a chopping corn head, we just don't see that you're going to need to use that either. So, regardless of your tillage system, we think we've got a kit that's going to do a great job for you. The other thing I want to talk a little bit about on the mechanical side is bud shelling. And I get a lot of phone calls on my cell phone, and people say that, they're seeing a lot of bud shelling. And from a logical point of view, if you take an ear of corn and you set it on the concrete in your shop, you're just not going to see any shelling or any kernel loss at all. But if you take the same ear of corn and you throw it down on the shop floor, kernels are going to go everywhere. That tells me that 95% of bud shelling is related to speed. Therefore, during implosion, if I pull the plant downward, I want to hit the deck here at a slower speed to avoid bud shelling. If I don't bud shell the ear, I don't have to clean it up, don't have to worry about it being on the ground. That goes back to the design of our stalk rolls. With that revolving window, 100% traction, we don't have to pull that stalk down nearly as fast as I used to with the older style. So that helps. We're able to slow our heads down. They're going to last a little bit longer, and we're going to have less trash intake. So all of those are on the mechanical side of things. But better yet is the agronomic side of things. And for me as a farmer right now with low grain prices, input costs are still the same that they were years ago, and it's becoming tougher to make a profit every year. The thing I like about this kit is that not only are we replacing parts that wore out, but simultaneously, we've got the potential to make no-till planting go a lot easier, less plugging, but we've got a great opportunity here for yield advantages, both if we're following with soybeans, but especially in continuous corn. And the data that we're getting back from University of Illinois would indicate a 6-bushel bump by running the BT chopper, going to the small confetti, releasing the nitrogen, the nutrients back into the soil quicker, therefore turning that into extra yield as well. So that's the thing I like about this kit, is that I feel I can comfortably tell you, you're going to get a nice return on investment where you spend $1 and make $1.50 or whatever that might be. So I can't stress the importance of the fact that we're farmers that have invented this. We're the farmers that have tested it, and it's farmer proven. And we're constantly looking at ways to make it a little bit better, but we want to help you out as well. And that's one of the things that we've done. I mean, it's my family name, but we're going to back it up with a 100% money back guarantee. We are that confident that you're going to be just tickled pink when you buy this kit and put it on your corn head. So if you have any issues, we can't resolve it, and it doesn't do everything that I just said it would do, you call me on the phone and we will buy it back. The other thing I want to tell you that it is an award-winning kit. It's been voted Product of the Year 5 times by the American No-Till Farmers. So I think we've been out there a long time. I think we're doing a great job with this kit. We hope that you're interested in it. Feel free to call us on the phone, 309-629-9000. Visit our website, calmercornheads.com, or if you want to talk to me on my cell phone, 309-368-1182. So with that, I want to say thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to watch our video.